sure I haven't done this with you yet. We're gonna practice this jump and do brake tap.
Okay, good.
Have we done that before?
No.
Okay. What we'll do is we're gonna come from off the track and probably just hit all the way left. The takeoff on this side is super smooth, landing on this side is smooth. Now, brake tapping is a good skill to learn for two reasons. One, in case of emergency, if you do get a funky kick and you end up really nose high, you want to pull that clutch in, tap the rear brake so you can level the front end out just a little bit. It's also super useful in getting the bike. You always want to land, for the most part, there's exceptions to this, you always want to try to land both wheels at the same time. The thing is, if you jump level, like how you're supposed to, and now we're downside of the jump, level is no longer here, right? Level is now whatever pitch the landing is. So that's where hitting the rear brake really comes in handy. So in Supercross, I would say probably 60 to 70% of the jumps I'm tapping the rear brake on, maybe more. I just hit it right at the top of the jump, like right when you're at the peak of your height, when you know you're gonna hit the downside, and you know kind of which way you're getting pitched. Because sometimes you hit a takeoff and you start to get kicked and you don't really know until you're at the height of your jump exactly what it's gonna do. So you wait till you're at the height of your jump, pull the clutch in, hit the rear brake, and I know you were saying you were scared of it. It's not gonna throw you into a front flip. It's gonna make a minor adjustment. If your pitch is here, it's gonna put you here. Just a couple degree difference, just enough so that if you were level, if you hit this, everything went well, your bike was level, you pull the clutch in, tap the rear brake, it's just gonna pitch you forward just enough so that you're probably still gonna land back tire first just a little bit, but it'll just get you more level to what the landing pitch actually is.
Oh yeah, so on this jump, I always go like fourth in the air. How should I do it with brake tapping?
You do it what in the air?
I go fourth in the air.
Yep, nothing changes there. You can still be in fourth gear in the air. The only time you're gonna have an issue is if you go to hit the rear brake without pulling the clutch in. Then the bike's probably gonna stall. Even then, it's not the end of the world, because I'd say 9 out of 10 times when that happens, you land, the bike's gonna immediately bump start itself anyway. First brake tap story, I remember it was the first time I was beating Justin Barsha. We were on like 60s at Walden in New York. And I was winning on the last lap, and I went to go show off on like this little tabletop and hit the rear brake to brake tap because I thought I was cool and I didn't know you were supposed to pull the clutch in, landed. The bike stalled in the air, landed, didn't bump start, and it was too hot. So I was sitting there trying to kick it and never started. And I was like, man, I'll never make that mistake again. So now, like, that's just something that's burned in my brain. I'll never forget it. So I always pull that clutch in, and you don't need to go 4 fingers to the grip, like just enough, you know what I mean? About the same amount you would pull it in to get a shift, really. Probably about halfway to the grip. Don't need a foot full of rear brake, just a little tap. It's gonna stop that rear wheel. And again, it's not enough to send you into a front flip. It's just that little bit to make that adjustment. Just my advice is you're not gonna wanna do it as soon as you take off. You gotta wait until you're at the height of that jump. And the smaller the jump, the quicker that is. So if you're hitting a little tiny double out of a turn, you're gonna have to hit that rear brake pretty quickly because the height of your jump is like a split second after you take off. If you're hitting the big 100-footer over there, yeah, you gotta wait it out because you're in the air for, a second before and a second feels like a long time in the air. You're in the air for a whole second, and then you're like, okay, now I can tap that rear brake. Other than that, there's honestly nothing really to it. It's just a really, really good skill to have. Make sure that when you attempt this for the first time, you pick a jump that you're familiar with, that you're confident with, and also that's not super high risk, something that if you case, it's not a big deal. And just be very hyper aware of where you are kind of pitch-wise when you're in the air. See, in that situation, he got a little bit of a kick. So at the top of his jump, his bike was level or maybe even a little nose low. That's obviously a situation where you'd want to call off the brake tap and not do it. So, and he knew better. He knew not to hit it. So we'll see. Oh, perfect. First try. Well, that was easy. Right?
The wage I thought it was gonna be.
Huh?
That was way easier.
Yeah, I think what people expect is that it's gonna like throw you into a front flip, and that was maybe your fear, right?
Yeah.
It's a very small adjust. It can get you in trouble. I mean, if you're already in an endo or like slightly nose low and you hit it, it's not gonna help your situation. But that's why you wait until you're at the top of your jump. So first of all, at the top of your jump, you should know, okay, I'm gonna clear it or not, right? And you also know what pitch your bike is at. So that's all. Like, and you waited perfect. You probably hit it right here, right? So if you hit it over there, you don't know yet. Your top of your jump is right in this area. You waited, you hit it, leveled you out. It was perfect. That was actually a useful situation. He was a little nose high, so that was a real life scenario where you would have absolutely wanted to use it. And he clipped the jump, so clipping it nose high like that, it could have possibly sent him into a little bit of an endo when he landed. So that was a good decision for him to not hit it, and he didn't. So he's starting to figure it out. Let's see what he says. All right, so that last one, what if you didn't hit it intentionally, right?
No.
Because you got that little bit of a kick, so you knew better. That's good. So you're starting to get a good feel of when you should and when you shouldn't. And even a couple times when you hit it, it didn't even really do a whole lot. You know what I mean? Like a couple of times you were pretty front end high and you hit it, and you were still front end high by the time you landed. So that's why it's still important that you guys utilize your body position as well. So if your front end's high, your body position is gonna help that more so probably than your rear brake will. Getting your chest, driving your chest forward, not your knees and your hips and thrusting forward like a hip thrust, but just driving your chest forward. That's gonna pitch the bike forward. Yeah, dude, I had this feeling in the pit of my stomach when you came through the gate. I just felt really good about the way you were coming up to it. Like you actually were attacking coming through the gate, like on the gas in fourth gear. I'm like, oh, he's got it, this one. Like I can tell the ones that you come in and you're timid and you're kind of like, you're in fourth and you're kind of going fast, but you're sort of on that edge. And then you ride in that last second blip of the throttle. That's where I get the feeling of the pit of my stomach where I'm like, oh crap. Like I kind of cringing the whole time. That one, I was nervous as you were riding that way because it's just such a high speed jump. It scares me. But then as soon as you turn and we're coming through at that much speed, I'm like, oh, he's freaking got it. Yeah, because hitting it with that much like confidence and momentum, there's very little that can go wrong. Did you even get a brake tap that one?
Tiny bit.
Yeah, I saw like a tiny little something happen. Go do as long as you feel comfortable with that.
Totally.
Whatever you're doing, keep repeating it. You should, at this point, you should know what that speed feels like and be able to repeat it.
Right.
And then feel out that pitch, and if you need the brake tap, get it. All right, so we came over to this tabletop here that's out of this left-hander. This is something that on a Super Mini at his skill level is almost impossible because the face is usually pretty mangled. The face is perfect, so we're hitting it from off the track. Yeah. Oh, now keep in mind, Daniel, I mean, he hasn't really been riding at this level for very long, so this is a big jump for anybody, really. Dude, perfect. So not only did he clear a jump that he's never jumped before, and this is fourth gear. I mean, he's fourth gear on it, and this is far. I mean, this is all of, you know, probably 70 feet. but he's adding a brake tap to it. Oh. Perfect brake tap, but he came up a little short, didn't land on the gas, and it gave him a little bit of a kick.
Just a little bit.
You didn't come, like your speed read on the takeoff was off. You came in a little bit slower.
I can feel it.
Perfect brake tap. The reason it felt like such a harsh landing is you coasted.
Okay.
If you had landed on the gas, you wouldn't have felt that.
Okay.
Do 2 or 3 more so that you got it dialed, and dude, that's awesome. Not only are you jumping something that you never jumped before, but you're brake tapping it. That's sick. That's great. Woo. Perfect.